Have you ever made a strength build before, Tarnished? Oh, this setting. We have no internet at home, so we're working with waifu from a restaurant. Right, waifu?
Yeah.
Anyway, by far the most popular type of build and the one everyone memes about, I'm sure that at some point you've run into one of those very original Gus from Burger cosplays that everyone and their mum has run at least once in their soul's career. Strength weapons have the particularity of being hard-hitting powerhouses with tons of damage per hit, which is compensated by them being tremendously slow. The best example, once again, is the Greatsword, weapon of choice for the Gus cosplay. Huge damage, but very slow hits, except for the infamous crouch poke, of course. We've covered some very good strength weapons before, such as the Stone Club, with unique properties and very good damage. But what if I told you that there is an even stronger weapon for strength builds? One that is many times stronger than the Gus Greatsword and the Stone Club, which is also borderline broken in PvP. The weapon that my slimy brother fears the most? The Serpent Hunter. So let's take a deep dive into my brother's anus.
What?
Dig out the Serpent Hunter you left there and analyze this bad boy, so you can understand why it's as good as it is.
I give my life, not for honor.
Kept you waiting, huh? Before we start hunting all over the serpent, the mystery weapon from our last video was the Great Scythe. Big congrats to the astral cherry pies that answered correctly. Stay tuned until the end of the video for another game of mystery weapon. For those little spicy marmalade biscuits who scratch their little heads at the mere mention of the words Serpent Hunter, allow Auntie Ranni to illustrate you. The Serpent Hunter is a very special weapon, obtained during the mighty rumble against my scaly snake lord brother. No, not that one.
Brothers!
The weapon is used as a gimmick during the boss fight in order to deal acceptable damage to my brother, since the size of his life bar is only matched by the size of his dong. Once you exit the fight, the weapon loses this special property and reverts to being a mere normal weapon with a Great Spear moveset, except for a very special attack. You see, being a Great Spear, the Serpent Hunter offers hyper armor on all of its attacks while two-handing it. Hyper armor allows you to tank hits without getting staggered, while at the same time receive 17% less damage per attack. Normally, hyper armor attacks tend to be slow and telegraphed to compensate for this tremendously good property. With the exception of the Serpent Hunter's crouch attack.
Oh, this is disgusting. What is that? Is that rancid?
Someday you go through the rain, and someday you feed on a tree frog. It's so deal the trial
What
to
just
survive.
happened?
For the day we seemed alive.
No!
The crouch attack comes out tremendously fast, and its hyper armor starts at frame 7, which is almost 10 times faster than a second. Why is this so strong, you ask? Oh, little ravioli. Let's take a look, shall we?
Okay.
The most obnoxious aspect of this attack would be that it's considered a pierce type attack. Pierce damage reigns supreme over other damage types because it's the only type of damage that benefits from the counter mechanic. We've talked about this property in detail in the double spears video right here, but all you need to know is that if you damage an opponent while they're in the middle of an attack animation, you'll deal increased damage to them. If you combine this with the spear talisman, you'll deal an additional mind-blowing 50% extra physical damage to your enemy. Since the Serpent Hunter is pure, raw protein, it benefits really well from the spear talisman. And since the weapon is designed to trade hits because of the hyper armor, you will deal counter damage 90% of the time. That's already insanely strong. But let's also add the fact that on strength builds, if you two-hand your weapon, your attack damage will increase. Since you will gain 50% more strength points merely by two-handing a weapon. This can break the 99 strength limit and keep increasing your damage, even if you already have 99 strength. So not only is the weapon insanely fast, it also has amazing strength scaling, deals heavy stagger, pierce damage, and can be buffed by the best talisman in the game and using it with two hands. The result? A brutal tumor stick. And finally, as a little fun fact, the weapon requires no stats to be used, so you can just max it to +10 and abuse its other properties. On top of all, if you suck at crouch poking, the regular R1 is also very good, and the jump R1 attack is godly, being extremely deceiving on its range when fighting with the most minimal latency. What else could you ask for? You can win some duels simply by spamming crouch R1 on proximity. It won't matter if the enemy has latency because you can just must force a trade and win every time because of the hyper armor and huge damage output. And if the enemy has good connection, the Serpent Hunter is considered one of the best roll-catching tools in the game. So have fun making people lose hair follicles. Just don't bother with the Ash of War. It sucks huge dinosaur balls. It is also great in PvE too, if that's your kind of thing, I guess. Insane damage, stun damage, and very fast too. By this point, you might be asking yourself,
Then what the heck can I do to fight this thing?
well, lucky for you, there are quite a few things you can do, my little cosmic French toast. My first advice against a Serpent Hunter user would be to always check how much latency there is. If there's high latency, the guy will have trouble roll catching you or hitting you altogether, and you can really abuse this. My advice would be that on high latency, you should always, and I cannot stress this enough, always roll the jump attack. It doesn't matter if they are a light year away from you, chances are that on high latency, you're still gonna get impaled. You can eat a boiled crab, or use black flame protection while attacking with other heavy-hitting weapons to outtrade the Serpent Hunter, since you will have very high defenses. The Lionel set will be very good to absorb those pierce attacks, since it has the best pierce damage defense in the game. Using fast-attacking weapons such as thrusting swords or the Shamshir can prove useful to throw in some attacks, and always be mindful of the enemy's opportunities to strike, which usually happens after a roll if they're not on the offensive. On high latency, simply roll spam out of the Serpent Hunter range without a care in the world, because they won't be able to roll catch you. On low latency though, you're going to have to be careful. The R1 crouch attack is so fast that it's very difficult to react roll. If you're hit by it, you enter a 50-50 where you either roll away immediately to escape another crouch R1, or you wait a bit for the setup roll catch and then roll away. With practice, you'll eventually learn how to deal with it. Another thing to have in mind is that with this weapon, the element of surprise goes down the skibidi toilet, since being a somber weapon means that it has no Ash of War variety. Not that it needs it though, but it's something to consider.
Hello, Poggies. This is Snake. Kept you waiting, huh? Overall, the Serpent Hunter is a weapon that could be considered quite of a one-trick pony, and it will not surpass Metal Gear. It has a couple of good things going for it, which are super strong, but you know it's not pulling off anything extravagant out of its serpent butt. Pretty much like in the fight against Psycho Mantis or Ranni's brother, you need to be aware of the gimmick, so it doesn't catch you off guard. And trust me, eventually, you will become a serpent it cannot hunt. Now, if you excuse me, I gotta go practice my secret handshake with Otacon.
Little Ravioli, it's 4 p.m, time to play Mystery Weapon. Judging by the stats alone, what weapon is this? Leave your answers in the comments below, and the winners will be featured in the next video. And if you enjoyed this one, feel free to leave a like, a comment, and share it with friends. Consider subscribing to OnlyWaifu for more videos like this. Be sure not to fall for snake oil scams, and as always, thanks for watching.